Next on the news.
I promise to work hard for you, to spill my blood for you.
The Diocese of Columbus, Ohio now has a new bishop, filling a void left by now Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan. More questions about how authorities responded to the scene of that devastating mass shooting at a school in Uvalde, Texas. President Biden holding a roundtable on how to end the shortage of baby formula in the U.S. Plus,
I'm just happy to be here. I'm having a fine time here.
A veteran marks Memorial Day and celebrates his 100th birthday all at the same time. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. A standing ovation for a new beginning and an old tradition as the new Bishop of Columbus shows off the letter from Pope Francis choosing him to lead the diocese. History was made in Columbus, Ohio at the installation and ordination of their new bishop, a U.S.-born son of immigrant parents from India, chosen as the new shepherd of the diocese of some 200,000 Catholics. A round of applause for a historic moment as Earl Fernandez officially becomes the 13th Bishop of Columbus. The 49-year-old is the youngest Roman Catholic bishop in the U.S. and the first of Indian American heritage. With a smile from ear to ear, he entered St. Paul the Apostle Catholic Church in Westerville, Ohio, Tuesday for his ordination and installation.
Receive the mitre and let the splendor of holiness shine in you.
Bishop Fernandez succeeds Bishop Robert Brennan, who left Columbus last year to become the shepherd of Brooklyn, and had some kind words for his predecessor.
I want to thank Bishop Brennan. Welcome back to Ohio. I have big shoes to fill. He was here only briefly, but he lifted the morale of both the people and the clergy.
One of the new bishop's priorities is to increase vocations to the priesthood in his new diocese.
I bring to your attention that this year in the Diocese of Columbus, there will be more bishops than priests ordained.
He asked the faithful to journey with him to share the joy of the gospel. That journey brought him to Columbus from Cincinnati. Parishioners of the church where he was pastor were sad to see him go, saying Columbus hit the jackpot.
In him you will find a faithful and fearless father, a strong leader, and a devoted friend.
And surrounded by friends, family, and religious leaders from across the country, Bishop Fernandez begins his new role feeling the love and ready to serve.
I promise to work hard for you, to spill my blood for you.
Bishop Fernandez was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. He actually entered medical school to follow in his father's footsteps, but after 2 years, he chose the seminary. Bishop Brennan posted a message of congratulations on social media saying, "Knowing the faithful of this diocese, I am confident he will be a wonderful shepherd for God's people in Columbus. With great joy and prayers, I congratulate Bishop Fernandez as he begins his Episcopal ministry." Still no arrests in connection with a brazen theft at St. Augustine in Brooklyn. Thieves got into the Park Slope Church over the weekend and cut the sacred tabernacle out of a metal case using a power tool. The tabernacle is made of gold and silver and also precious stones. Finding a legitimate buyer for such an item could be difficult because dealers in New York that buy gold and valuables are supposed to upload the identity of the seller to an online database, and law enforcement has access to that database. If you know anything about the theft, police are asking you to contact them immediately. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial the Crime Stoppers hotline at 800-577-TIPS. Again, that's 800-577-8477. In Manhattan, New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan joined the parishioners at Our Lady of Sorrows in praying the Rosary Tuesday night. The Lower East Side parish was the victim of a hate crime last month. Vandals decapitated the statues decorating their Fatima grotto. The Cardinal used a rosary given to him during his recent trip to Ukraine and told parishioners to be the light against the darkness. As families lay their loved ones to rest in Uvalde, Texas, many questions still remain about the investigation into the mass school shooting. The Texas Department of Public Safety is facing scrutiny about the response to Robb Elementary School, where 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. Gloria Pazmino has the latest.
I just told my class, get on the ground, get on the ground, get to the corner.
Harrowing details of survival and questions. Days after a gunman entered the Robb Elementary School and opened fire inside 2 adjoining classrooms, killing 19 children and 2 teachers in Uvalde, Texas, contradictions and shifting narratives continue to emerge about law enforcement's response. Pedro Arredondo, the Uvalde School's police chief who led the flawed law enforcement response, seen here for the first time. According to the Department of Public Safety, Arredondo has not responded to a request for a follow-up interview with the Texas Rangers. Arredondo will only say they are talking.
I've been on the phone with them every day.
And DPS now saying the door the shooter used to enter the school was closed but not locked. That's a change from last week, when the department first said the door had been propped open by a teacher. While victims and survivors demand answers, families mourn.
I believe that Alithia would want us to be strong and that she's in a better place.
Funeral services will be held Wednesday for 10-year-old Jose Flores Jr. and Irma Garcia, one of the teachers who was killed, and her husband, who died from a heart attack days later. Visitation and rosary services will be held for Naivea Bravo, Jace Luevanos, and Jayla Nicole Silguero, all of them 10 years old. Gloria Pazmino, Currents News.
A woman who was injured in the Brooklyn subway shooting in April is now suing the firearm company Glock. The lawsuit accuses the gunmaker of improperly marketing its firearms, saying they appeal to purchasers with criminal intent. The plaintiff was one of 10 people shot back in April. The suspect, Frank James, is being held on federal terrorism and gun charges. James is accused of firing a Glock handgun at least 33 times inside the crowded Brooklyn subway car. In hopes of preventing future shootings in the subway, Mayor Eric Adams is exploring technology that could identify firearms before they're brought into the transit system. These weapon detectors are already being used at stadiums and theme parks, but they would still need to be operated by an officer who can confront those who are carrying firearms illegally. The mayor has acknowledged these challenges, but says it still might be worth trying at select locations. Mayor Adams isn't the only one looking to curb gun violence. Governor Kathy Hochul, along with New York lawmakers, are also expected to tighten gun laws across the state. The legislative package includes measures that would criminalize threats of mass harm, prohibit the sale of body armor to people outside of law enforcement, change the minimum age to purchase a semi-automatic rifle from 18 to 21, and would mandate microstamping for new guns, which is identification technology that etches a unique code in each bullet case as it's fired. To the war in Ukraine, President Biden has pledged to send Ukraine more advanced rocket systems and munitions for the war-torn country. The Biden administration will send the systems as part of a new $700 million military aid package for Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials have assured the U.S. that the weapons will not be used on targets within Russia.
The Ukrainians have given us assurances that they will not use these systems against targets on Russian territory. There is a strong trust bond between Ukraine and the United States, as well as with our allies and partners.
All this comes as Russian forces are waging a grinding offensive in the eastern part of the country. And as that offensive continues, Ukraine has assembled a display in the capital of Kyiv as a reminder that the war is far from over. Destroyed tanks and other military equipment aims to provide hope that Russia will be vanquished. Matthew Chance has the story.
Well, this looks like the aftermath of a ferocious battle, but it's in fact an exhibition that's been assembled here in the center of the Ukrainian capital using real Russian military hardware that has been destroyed on the outskirts of the city. Obviously, this is a T-72 Russian tank, absolutely devastated, of course, by some kind of anti-tank weapon. If we walk across here, there's some missiles on the floor. The casings have been put on show. An anti-aircraft gun here with its turret that people can come and look at. It's all here for the benefit of the people of Kiev, to show them the weaponry that has been essentially threatening their lives over the course of the last 4 months. I spoke to one visitor here, and you can see there are lots of people here taking photographs, showing their children, what the Russians have been throwing at them over the course of the past several months. One guy told me, they said, look, it's the first time we've actually seen this stuff up close, because even though it's been very, on everybody's television screens, not everybody's had the chance to come this close to this kind of Russian armour. And he says it's important because seeing this Russian weaponry destroyed in this way makes us believe that we can win. And I thought that was a really poignant remark by just one of the visitors we spoke to here, looking at this destroyed armour in the centre of the Ukrainian capital. Matthew Chance in Kiev.
Calling on the intercession of Mary, Pope Francis prayed the rosary for peace in Ukraine and around the world. The Holy Father usually ends the month of May by leading the rosary at the Vatican, but given Russia's invasion of Ukraine, he chose to pray before the statue of Mary, Queen of Peace, at Rome's Basilica of St. Mary Major. The statue was commissioned by Pope Benedict XV to ask for the Virgin Mary's intercession during the First World War. There's a lot more news headed your way. The U.S. continues to face a nationwide shortage of baby formula, the latest efforts by President Biden. But is it enough? A look at how far one New York couple will go just to feed their child. And helping their brothers and sisters in Christ, how a Baptist congregation from Michigan is offering aid to the Buffalo community.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
Overpromised and underdelivered. This is what shelves look like in New York City right now. Despite the White House promising to boost baby formula manufacturing, there are no signs in New York City that the country is any further along in replenishing the national supply. One estimate shows that about 70% of baby formula products across the country were out of stock at some point during this past week. And that's sending the president back to the drawing board today. He's hosting a roundtable discussion with formula manufacturers in hopes of ramping up production once and for all. Absent from the meeting, though, Abbott Nutrition, the company widely blamed for sparking the shortage. The White House hasn't said why Abbott wasn't included, but it did announce it will provide more than $2 billion to try to strengthen the nation's food supply system.
Look, as a father and a grandfather, and I'm sure we all feel this way, understand how difficult this shortage has been for families all across the country. There's nothing more stressful than the feeling you can't get what your child needs.
In the meantime, another big issue is also on the table, whether to break up or at least dilute the power of some of these big manufacturers. Before its plant shut down, Abbott held 40% of domestic infant formula. The only thing worse for a desperate parent right now than finding any formula is getting a specific formula for a child that has allergies. Hypoallergenic products have been nearly impossible to find, especially in New York. One couple from Long Island is living that nightmare, but they say because of family and friends, they're still blessed. Polo Sandoval shows us the lengths they go through to feed their child.
Oh, is the elephant gonna get you?
Come playtime, it's easy for Adriana and Justin Eith to get lost in the joys of raising a baby.
You're such a big boy. Yes, you are.
But come feeding time,
you know the drill. Come on.
The New York couple is reminded of the uncertainty that comes with finding nourishment for their 4-month-old baby amid the ongoing formula shortage.
Does someone want a bottle?
You would know it with his smile, but little Cooper suffers from digestive issues and a dairy allergy.
You're being such a good boy today.
Not only does Cooper rely solely on powdered baby formula for nutrition, but he can only hold down Pyramino, a prescription powder that is not only hypoallergenic, but it's also nearly impossible to find these days, according to Eith.
It's the easiest thing for him to digest because unlike other formulas on the market, they have like Similac Elementum, they have Nutramigen, but there's still trace amounts of dairy in that. So in this, there's no dairy and very, very limited soy.
Eith has had to expand her search from the pharmacies in her Long Island community to the rest of the country.
I have family in Georgia, I have family in Florida, California, North Carolina. I have everyone helping me right now. My in-laws, my dad, I have coworkers. When I mean in this moment, why I feel so blessed and where the saying comes in, it takes a village, I have had more people now helping me than I've had, I mean, in months.
A network of parents on social media has also been a source of formula and a way for ICE to help fellow parents.
I joined everything. I'm in a group called One Parent to Another.
So far, ICE has managed to secure at least 2 weeks' worth of formula, with the Food and Drug Administration estimating that it could be a few weeks before shelves are stocked fully again. Her worry is about Cooper's long-term nutritional needs and those of other children.
And I don't think right now there's no magic wand that can fix it. I think it's kind of a wait and see, because when it starts happening and it starts getting back on the shelves, I think that's when people are going to feel at ease.
ICE remains skeptical, but also hopeful that the government's long-awaited response will soon be felt at empty shelves across the country. With Cooper's bottles full for now, the ICE can focus on keeping the smile on their baby's face.
That was Polo Sandoval reporting. The American Academy of Pediatrics says cow's milk is an option for babies 6 months or older if formula is not available and the child doesn't need a specialty formula for allergies like Baby Cooper. The Supreme Court temporarily blocked a Texas law that restricts social media platforms. By a 5-4 vote, the justices granted an emergency request from the tech industry to block the measure opposed by Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The measure restricts the company's ability to moderate user-generated content. The order is a loss for Texas, which had argued its law prohibiting social media platforms from moderating posts does not violate the First Amendment. 6 teachers at a school in Rochester are on leave after text messages about their students. A group of parents claim in a group text the teachers used racist and demeaning language to talk about their children. School 17 has students from pre-K through the 8th grade. The parents are demanding more action, and the school district's investigation could result in the teachers getting fired. Mass shootings aren't the only attacks on life gripping the nation right now. The fight against abortion is also taking center stage, and you can read all about it in this week's Tablet newspaper. Not only is the paper offering a state-by-state look at statistics and laws, but it's also providing a resource guide for mothers and moms-to-be in the Diocese of Brooklyn. It includes a list of pregnancy centers and housing programs meant to help new mothers choose life. Also this week in the Tablet, the Diocese of Brooklyn is welcoming 3 new priests. You can learn all about Father Vincent Vu, Father Andrew Tsui, and Father Alex Olszewski as they prepare for their new vocations. The 3 priests are set to be ordained on June 4th, and this will be the first ordination class that Bishop Robert Brennan will oversee for the Diocese of Brooklyn since his installation. Again, you can find those stories and more in this week's Tablet newspaper. Just head to your local church to pick up a copy. And if you want to get future editions delivered right to your mailbox, just go to thetablet.org and click subscribe. A Baptist church in Michigan gave some much-needed help to the Buffalo community in the wake of the mass shooting at the Tops supermarket. The church's pastor and congregation were worried residents who live near Tops may not have the money for gas to drive to another grocery store. As Michael Schwartz reports, they offered $10,000 in free gas to residents in need.
Okay, give me another one, please.
Gridlock around Jefferson Ave and East Ferry Street as free gas was given away at Mandela Market to the first 200 people.
Right here, right here.
$10,000 in gas total, all thanks to Pastor Carlton Lynch and his church in Michigan.
I couldn't not do anything.
He flew in over the weekend to support Buffalo's East Side in the wake of the Tops mass shooting.
This has become, in a sense, a food desert since the tragedy. So I just thought about bringing resources to the community.
Volunteers pumped gas for each car that pulled up.
As you see, it's a little chaotic, right now, but that's just a part of it.
Buffalo police even had to step in to control the sea of traffic as drivers lined up down Jefferson Avenue for hours. Drivers like Davita Wright.
You've waited more than 3 hours?
It's all right. It's all right. Little patience is fine.
Wright now inspired herself to give back after the huge help to her wallet.
Another week where it's not so financially strained.
I think it's cool that we don't have to pay
for gas, especially when it's $5 or more a gallon.
Each car getting $40 worth of gas.
It helped me get to the grocery store.
Helping in the most important situations.
Thank God I can make it to my job interview tomorrow.
How big of a deal is this for you?
A big deal.
Victoria Buggs and her new fiance, Ernest Bishop, drove back to their nearby home thankful.
It's gonna help me get my kids back and forth to school this week. It's a very big deal.
Help. Sometimes we have to scrape up gas and we don't know where we're gonna get it from, but we make it happen. Today we was blessed.
The whole family feeling blessed.
God bless you.
All right, God bless you.
That was Michael Schwartz reporting. And joining hand in hand with various faith communities, the Vicariate of Black Catholic Concerns in the Diocese of Brooklyn is hosting an interfaith prayer service for the victims of both Buffalo and Uvalde. The service will take place at 4 p.m. this Sunday, June 5th, at the Immaculate Conception Church in Jamaica Estates. The address is 8645 Edgerton Boulevard. Bishop Robert Brennan will preside over the service and will be joined by Father Alonzo Cox as well as other religious leaders in the community. Still to come on Currents News, you might catch a glimpse of Pope Francis if you're in Brooklyn. Next, where exactly you can find this work of art. And we'll meet the World War II veteran who commemorated Memorial Day and celebrated a special birthday at the same time. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Pope Francis may be at the Vatican, but there is a chance to see the Holy Father in Brooklyn. Delfinoto, a local artist, has been capturing the Pope's likeness in murals all throughout New York City. His latest masterpiece is on the side of Little Cupcake Bake Shop in Bay Ridge. Delfinoto says he was inspired by the Holy Father's Laudato Si campaign and hopes this mural will raise awareness for climate change. This isn't the first time Delfinoto partnered with Little Cupcake Bake Shop. He also painted the Pope at their Prince Street location in Manhattan. Finally, Monday marked a momentous occasion for a World War II veteran in Virginia. Not only did Phil White commemorate Memorial Day, but he was also celebrating a century of memories. Here's a look at the 100th birthday bash that had people visiting from around the country.
We celebrate Dad's birthday. Oh yeah, I mean it happens to be Memorial Day, but it's Dad's birthday. That's the day.
It feels like just any other day, except all these people around here gathering.
I first set my eyes on sweet mommy.
To have somebody reach 100, I mean you hear about that, but you don't really know anybody who actually did it. And my father has been a happy person his whole life. I got my money on 120. I think he's going to make it. Absolutely. He's always interested in things. He's always doing things. He's always moving.
Sleeping late and enjoying life. Number one, not worrying about it. Not wondering if I'm going to make it the next day. Because it just happens. And I'm thankful that it did just happen.
Everybody came from all over the place, Seattle, and all over.
He's got a lot of love. He's surrounded by wonderful people who care about him.
I'm just happy to be here. I'm having a fine time here, and I'm glad all my kids are here, and friends, neighbors, all out around. It's really nice.
He looks great, doesn't he? Happy birthday to Phil, and we thank all the veterans who have served our nation. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.